I really want to thank the Elks so much for having this forum. I think this is a really great thing to have and to let us kind of let you understand where we're at and some of our views on some of the big issues that are coming up. I will vouch for Jerry. I was in Topeka today and I saw him at the Cindy Dye meeting today at the closure of the legislature, and he was there working hard, and unfortunately I think they're going to have to go back, so we'll hear more about that in just a second. But my name is John Eplee. I think most of you know me. I delivered a few people in this room, and I have been around for 35 years in Atchison. I'm not a local yokel. I'm from southeast Kansas. I grew up in agribusiness. I grew up custom cutting alfalfa fields for my father, and I grew up raising hogs. And that's kind of my MO as a young person growing up. I was able to, with some help of scholarships and local folks, go to K-State. I got my undergraduate degree in pre-medicine and psychology, and then went on to the University of Kansas School of Medicine, and after 3 years completed that and got my degree and did my residency in Wichita at then St. Joseph's, now Via Christi. And after completing that, I looked around, and my wife was from Kansas City. She's a big city girl, and we had to compromise, and Atchison was the best compromise for us because it was far enough away from Kansas City, but close enough for her to go see her family. So that's why we ended up here, and we've been here for 35 years, and it's been a great experience, and we love Atchison, we love Northeast Kansas. Also in 1982, for anybody that's from Donovan County, which I'm going to represent if elected, I formed the Troy Clinic, and that's been in continuous operation ever since. So I'm pretty happy about that, happy to be a part of that. I delivered a lot of Donovan County residents also in my early years in practice. Why I decided to run. I am well acquainted with Jerry, and I knew that Jerry was going to vacate his seat. And I had thought for many years about running for public office in the realm of a state office, and this was just an opportunity at my age. I thought it would not come again, and I thought this was my time. It felt like it was my time to run and want to be your representative in Topeka. I want to be your representative in District 63. I'm excited about the opportunity. There's a lot of issues we can talk about, but the main thing I want to touch on is, and foundational for me as your representative is, and I think it's apparent to all of you here tonight, we have to have a balanced budget. If we can't balance our budget, it precludes a lot of things that we need to accomplish as a entity of government. And we've seen that year in and year out. We haven't had balanced budgets for a variety of reasons. And I am a Republican, and I'm proud of it, and I think we've got reasonable leadership, but sometimes our leadership to date has been so hung up on an ideology or on a dogma that we've been inflexible, and we've fallen short. And Jerry knows exactly what I'm talking about, and some of you in the audience know what I'm talking about. And we're going to have the pendulum swing a little bit back more to the middle, where we have more give and take on some of these issues. So balanced budget for me is essential. I think if we have tax cuts created or tax loopholes created, they have to be tied to budget targets, and that's done in other states. I'm aware of it being done in our neighbor state. In other words, you don't enact or pull the trigger on a tax loophole or a tax cut unless you've met a certain level of income or revenue at your state level. That seems like a very straightforward, easy method, and it seems flexible and dynamic for budgets that are needed today. We just don't have that. We've stuck to this dogma since 2012, and we are where we are. And where we are this month, we were about $65 million short again. Now that's on top of being told that we need to raise another $30 million for education, because the Supreme Court said that the Rickman law that was passed by our legislature is not going to fly. It doesn't meet their letter of the law as they dictate. And so we will go back in session, and I'm sure, I can't speak for the legislature, but I feel confident that in a matter of a couple of days they'll figure this out. Now whether I'm very worried that it's not going to meet, again, constitutional law, and that our schools will be put on hold. I mean, that is a great fear of mine, because this has to happen in literally 1 month's time. Now, my background, I'm not just starting at this after 35 years of being a doctor. I've been on here locally, I've been on your recreation board for 8 years, and I've been on the school board for 7 years. And I feel like I have a pretty darn good insight into what's necessary for education for our schools and to keep our schools quality and competitive. And I feel very strongly to be a vanguard of public education here locally, because I've been on the good side and seen how difficult it is. Now, I've talked to legislators in my own party, and they'll tell you that we've had, that we're the third highest paid school system, USDs in the United States. Our state is third highest, that we pay that much money, and that we've had increases every year. And I'm telling you, as a school board member, that's not so. That's not the case. Right now, on the base state aid per pupil, since 2010, since I've been on the school board, we've seen a 12% decrease, and I can show you the figures in base state aid per pupil. And that's what goes to educate all of our children. And that's in a time when nothing goes down except base state aid per pupil. And we've been able to provide a very quality education. We have not raised your taxes. In fact, we've decreased our mill levy a little bit, but we've had to fluctuate between 56 and 60 mills as a school board, and we've stuck to that. We've stuck to that goal. And we still provide the full realm of education. We provided one-on-one digital education for our youngsters, and I'm really proud of that because I promoted that. And, suitable education for today's youth. We're trying really hard in a public realm to keep Atchison USD 409 and also the Troy School and the Highland School in a competitive venue. It's really, really been difficult. We've let people go by attrition. We have cut some positions, and yet we've been able to maintain a full, school presence in Atchison, and it's been very difficult. So I will be a vanguard of public education. That's number 2. So balanced budget, public education. The third thing, and I'll sit down, is I feel pretty strongly we need to look at our health realm and what's going on for, Medicaid expansion. Now, please don't brand me as a Medicaid expansionist. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there are some reasonable alternatives to Medicaid expansion that would allow Kansas to be in a much better place for mental health services and also for general Medicaid services that we have not taken advantage of. And it's because of, I think, an inability to understand some of these options that are out there. And I presented this at Rotary about a month ago. So I think this needs to at least get into a hearing setting and get vetted and get evaluated for its merit. So I think that healthcare funding can be increased in our state if we're willing to open our eyes to what's available through some of the federal programs that are there. I don't know how and when and the circumstances, because I'm not on the inside yet, but I want to get there as a physician because I understand it, and I feel like we can do a much better job. Finally, the last thing is we're robbing from, because of our budget, we've robbed from highways and roads, we've robbed from capers, we've delayed that. We've moved money around from the tobacco tax settlement. And these are concerns I have because of an imbalanced budget that we're taking away from essential services that we need to provide for our state. So these are some of the things that I think that are important. Again, I really want to thank the Elks for this opportunity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as a person running for District 63.